A car. If you don't know, I'm a stateside certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. Driving is a very personal situation, and it's really important that you set a plan to learn how to drive, to have an instructor who's caring and passionate, who will explain to you what you need to do to be successful. As you go along in your journey, you're going to learn how to steer. You should be turning hand over hand into the turn and hand over hand out. There is more than one way to turn the steering wheel. A lot of people want to argue and say, well, you should have your hands at 9 and 3. You should have your hands at 10 and 2. You should have your hands at 7 and 5. At the end of the day, you want to have both hands on the steering wheel. We know there's an airbag in the middle. And we're not trying to blow our thumbs up or break our elbow, but when you're making right turns, you should be turning hand over hand. When you're doing parking maneuvers, you should be turning hand over hand because that's going to give you basic control of the vehicle. Let's talk about getting in the vehicle and what you need to do. When you first get into the vehicle, you want to lock your door. Click, click. That makes sure that no intruders come in to get you and you don't fall out of the vehicle. Next, you want to put on your seatbelt. You want to grab that seatbelt and pull it across your body and click it in. After you do that, you want to adjust your seat. You want to move it forward if you're a little bit shorter. I'm taller. You move your seat back. Now, you want to make sure you have your elbows with a slight bend in your elbows. You want to have the elbows slightly bent. Okay, it's really important that you do that. Your instructor should be giving you insight into the proper things in the vehicle, such as your blinker. Your blinker is on the left side, up is for a right, down is for a left. You will forget that. And you're going to be very nervous. Your hands are going to be sweating. You want to drive with your right foot only. We're in North America, so 90% of cars are automatic. And we drive on the right side of the road. So this means you want to practice lane positioning. And how do you do this? You want to aim high, such as I'm aiming high. You want to look ahead. And when you're driving, you don't want to look down. I'm looking down at the speedometer. If you look down at the speedometer or look at your feet and hands, your car's going to drift off the road. So you don't want to drift off the road. You want to look ahead. A lot of beginners tend to hug the right side of the road. You're drifting off the lane to the right, and usually that's in the ditch. We do not want to be in the ditch. We want to have good control of our vehicle and look ahead and aim high. So your lane positioning is really important. Next, I take students into neighborhoods. And neighborhoods, you're going to learn how to make right turns, how to make left turns, how to reverse into people's driveways. Typically, we make 12 right turns. We're turning hand over hand into the turn. We're turning hand over hand out. Then we make 12 left turns because I want you to be balanced, and good instructors will take you through basic skills, going through neighborhoods, scanning for little kids. And little kids don't understand the dangers of a car. So the speed limit in neighborhoods is 25 miles an hour. We want to drive about 20 or 17. We're looking left, we're looking middle, we're looking right. We are a defensive driver. A defensive driver always anticipates cars, people pulling out, and you always want to be aware. Awareness is really important. So from there, we're making right turns, we're making left turns, we're driving in the neighborhood, feeling good about ourselves. Then I want to get you on some low speed roads, 35 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour. Downtown areas, small downtown areas, are really good for learning how to drive, coming up to a stop, and you stop at the stop line, that big, thick white line, you stop. You look left, right, and left. And either we're going to go straight, we're going to make a left, or we're going to make a right. Your instructor will give you good feedback. And good instructors are kind, they're patient, they crack jokes to make you relax, and they encourage you. You will make mistakes. And if you're not trying to learn how to drive, you're not really making mistakes. Through mistakes comes success, right? Not frustration. So I need you to remember that. On your second drive, we're more on the road. We're making lane changes, mirror, turn signal, blind spot. This is my blind spot to my left. This is my blind spot to my right. A lot of beginners put their foot on the brake and slow down. I need you to gently accelerate through your lane change. I need you to take your time and do your best work, because good instructors give you that positive feedback. They always tell you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how to improve, because you always want to get better. So also we're doing parallel parking. Why? That's on your test. So you need to be able to pull up next to a car, you turn your wheel all the way to the right, the rear will go in at a 45 angle. Once you're halfway, you turn the wheel back. You should be about 12 inches away from the curb. I open the door and check. Why? Because I'm an instructor. I want to make sure you're doing it right, and I want to give you that positive feedback. Anywhere from 5 to 7 parallel park maneuvers are really important. So I need you to understand that and have those good parallel parks. Then we're going to practice making left turns. Guys, you're getting so much value right now. If this is giving you value, give it a thumbs up. So you're coming up to the center lane. For making left turns only, we have a protected left turn where we have a blinking arrow. If it's blinking red, we have to stop first, yield to oncoming traffic. Then if it's clear, we turn into the nearest lane by the double yellow line. We want to keep our turn short, and this facilitates a smoother flow of traffic when you keep your turn short. If you turn wide, you're going to go in the wrong lane. Got some fish flies here. If you turn wide, you're going to go in the wrong lane, and we don't want to have an accident. That is extremely important. From there, we want to continue having great speed control, accelerating through our turn. You're going to make a series of 7 to 10 left-hand turns, 7 to 10 right turns to have that great speed control, which is super important. And then once you have that good speed control, we're going to continue making lane changes, being on the main thoroughfare, continuing to advance our skills of having good lane changes, turning in the appropriate lane at the appropriate time. If we're making a left turn, you want to go up, and when that line is broken between the two lanes, you merge into the middle. Some beginning drivers or experienced drivers cut in the middle of the lane, and that lane is for left turns only, not driving straight. So I need to let you know that. Timing is very important when you work on your turns, you work on your speed control, because we want you to get better every single drive. And when you get better every single drive, you learn to elevate and live your best life, because driving is a responsibility. It's not a right. So you have to work hard to develop your skill set to get better. Right around that fourth drive, some students are ready to go into expressway, some are not. It all depends on your development, your instructor's instructions, and your enthusiasm. I need you to continue to improve and continue to get better as you drive. And this is timing. When do I turn on my blinker? 100 feet or half a block. When do I get into the correct lane? You want to signal early and signal often. That is so important that you work on your signaling, you work on your turning, you work on your speed control, because through good speed control, you will improve and get better. Let's talk about merging on the expressway. You want to plan, your instructor should be giving you feedback. There are really long ramps. You build up your speed, you gradually accelerate. You want to come out that ramp about 45 to 55 miles an hour so you can merge into the nearest lane. The middle lane is actually the smooth lane. So if you see that on your test, remember what I said. The middle lane is the smooth lane. The lane to the left is the passing lane. There are 3 lanes. 1, 2, 3. The middle lane is the smoothest, the safest. The lane to the right, you're going to have cars merging on. So you got to be mindful. Either they're going to go over the top of you, ahead of you, or they're going to go in behind you. So timing when you're driving on the expressway is very important. So we want to practice merging. I like to get 5 to 7 merges, practice getting that speed control up, practice improving. Through practice, you learn how to get better. Now, many of you are 14.8, 15. It takes 10 years. What? Are you serious? If you're 16, 26. If you're 15, 25. If you're 14, 9, 24, 9, it takes 10 years to learn how to drive. That is correct. So it's really important that you get every experience you can to improve, to get better. I appreciate you. Bye.